Thank you. All rise.
Great.
Pledge
Allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence and note that retired firefighter Thomas Murphy just died since our last meeting after an illness that was going on for a while, unfortunately. And please include all of the fallen first responders since our last meeting. Thank you. I can take a motion for approval of the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
And a second, good. And any discussion or changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. New business. Anybody have anything to bring up? I'm not aware of anything coming. Okay. Reports of the chair. This is mostly about transition. Both Alex and I are up for reappointment, or in my case, not, because I've termed out. Alex has gotten notice that the vote for his replacement is November 12th, which would mean that they're sworn in for the November meeting. So I want to acknowledge your service and thank you very much. I've personally learned a great deal and enjoyed working with you during this time period, and hopefully we'll figure out a way to do that again.
I'd like to ditto what Dorothea just said. It's been a pleasure.
Gotta get you guys out more.
Okay, in terms of me, I haven't gotten notice that they're going to use the November 12th meeting to replace me, which would mean that I'm still on the commission for the November meeting and replaced for the December or not eligible to vote. The good news is I did have a conversation a month or so ago with Christine, urging her to get appointments done and not do what past experience is, which is sort of move along slowly and people, various commissions end up without full membership for the December meeting. She seems to be actively moving forward, so I was very pleased about that. But I'm going to use this as sort of my swan song because I don't know that I'll be here on or eligible to speak for the November meeting. I have greatly appreciated and loved working with all of you, firefighters commission and union over there. And since I've been on in 2013, I'm a particularly long serving because I filled a stub halfway through. So I've been on for 12 years. So firefighters know some of the earlier experience from that time period. None of the commissioners do. And I'm really proud and pleased with the growth in professionalism and expertise of all three components. That's made a huge difference. I'm personally particularly proud of the change we made to the interview process. And I believe that that has helped both in terms of helping get to the best candidates and in terms of development for all of those involved in terms of the firefighters and the commissioners from that process and the learning, and further build relationships and understanding of operations of the fire department for the commissioners, which has been really important. Most of all, I'm appreciative of all of you. It has been wonderful working with you, even when we have our battles. And I'm gonna miss it. But I wish you well. I know you'll do well. And with that, I'm done and the chief is up.
Well, I'd like to say thank you for your service. I'm gonna miss your wise counsel and your being the voice of reason and your institutional knowledge. It's been a pleasure, a professional pleasure. I mean, you're just very great to work with, and you've taught me a lot about the process even here too. So thank you for your service, and we know we'll see you in some other capacity around town, I'm sure. So and you can always drop in too. So thank you.
Yeah, hopefully I drop into you and you don't have to drop into my house.
Yes. See us professionally, yes. No, just yes.
There's always the item on the agenda here for you. Like today is number 8. So
Oh, yeah. Public comment.
feel free. And maybe we'll have public comment then.
Okay, so the PPE that was required subsequent to the OSHA inspection is now being ordered, and we've got a process set up, and so that is going very well and should be in process shortly, and Chief Barry is in charge of that. I should say Chief Case is away tonight and he gives his regrets for not being here. Capital Planning Workshop with the Board of Finance was held recently. The fiscal 27 projects include initial monies to study the Engine 4 upgrade or replacement. Station 4 replacement or upgrade. And the maintenance shop relocation. You know, we're talking about possibly looking to relocate the maintenance shop on this campus somewhere, maybe over in that area. That's the initial plans, and
Okay.
we're seeing how that may work. And we're excited about that because it will give us a facility where we can work on the apparatus, tilt the cabs or put them on the lifts and get underneath. In the winter time, we don't have to pull them out to tilt cabs and do things like that, which we have some problem. It'll alleviate some of the space issues up at Station 2. So I think it'll be a win-win, and the town is amenable. So we think that may be a great thing. Let's see. We have the 6 personnel in the academy. They're still doing very well. We're getting progress reports and keeping on them. We've met with them numerous occasions. As you know, Jude Fitzgerald was our fire marshal's office admin. She left, so we wound up getting, I think I told you that last meeting, but we did, the update is that we got Christine Cavallera as our new admin there. Christine's very experienced. We all knew her and we're happy when we saw that she was applying. She's the AP clerk in finance, and she's very valuable over there. She's very, we knew her because we'd always ask her for favors. Hey, we need to pay this thing. Hey, what else do we need? She was, and she's hit the ground running up with us at fire headquarters. The mechanic, we've interviewing the final 3. We had 22 people put in for the mechanic, the open mechanic job. We interviewed 6, and we have a final interview for 3 of them. So hopefully we'll have something to speak to you about the next meeting on that. Fire marshal's office, we had, so first is that we had some retirements since last meeting. Chief McCarthy retired as of October 1st. Fire Inspector Pond retired, I think, also that same date. And firefighter Noga retired on October 3rd. So we thank them all for their service. They're all very valuable members of our department. That also means that there's an opening in the fire marshal's office for an inspector, the firefighter rank. So it has a closing date of October 14th. We're going to have we're going to have to interview them according to the contractual requirements, and hopefully we'll have news for you about that at the next meeting also. The latest.
Does that trigger promotions?
No, because it's just a lateral from a firefighter into the fire inspector.
I meant the retirements, any of the
Oh, the
retirements.
retirements. No, because the only officer involved would have been Chief McCarthy, and we were over
Right.
one with him, so, yes. The latest Connecticut firefighter app test was yesterday. We have a list. There's only 2 names left on the list after we've hired everyone. So we will take a look at the people that took this test and applied directly to Fairfield, and they had to, we do have some requirements like we had spoken about. There's a 30-mile driving range. There's, they have to have EMT and all the same things that we previously had as requirements, but they actually have to, they don't just sit on the Connecticut list, they have to also apply to Fairfield in particular. And we put people who are in that first band. So they will be put on the list wherever they are in that existing list. They'll kind of fill in there, and we'll, at some time in the future, we'll harvest that list and start interviewing, and then have the.
We need to schedule interviews?
No, we will at that point.
Okay.
At the time we're ready to schedule interviews, we will harvest names from that list, and then we'll, notify you, and we'll set up interviews and things like that. We're not planning on doing that right away because we're involved in other projects, and we do have a little bit of time for that. Because the next academy, we're hoping to find out when Bridgeport wants to give the next academy, because we're hoping to do it with them. And we're not sure when their next academy is. Otherwise, we could go to the state academy, but having such a great product from this academy, so we would like to see what is going on there. Let's see. Mention the station. Okay, you can mention that. Okay, and so that was that. So in the emergency management realm, the risk manager, Rob Derry, resigned from the town's employee. He was also the deputy emergency management director. So right now it's only myself and Chief Paris as in emergency management. We had a meeting the other day with Ms. Vitale, First Selectwoman Vitale, and she asked me to serve as the emergency management director. So we participated in a UI drill up in Orange on September 16th. Our deputy chiefs were with me. CERT has a trailer inventory in November 8th, which is their cots and things like that they use for the shelters. It's also great that they're doing that, because that is one of the deliverables that I have to show when I do my yearly reports in order to get our EMPG grant, Emergency Management Performance Grant. We had a dam plan. We have a bunch of dams around this area. We have Sam Mortar, which are privately owned, and there are a few Aquarian dams that they're not located in Fairfield, but any issues with them would actually impact us. So we had a meeting with Sam Mortar today, but we are looking to firm up our preparation for any dam emergency. Sometimes there's spills, leaks, and things like that. Hopefully, nothing big, but we have to firm that up. And that's a process that we had partners in the room, which are the ECC, or the Fairfield Regional Dispatch Center, and Director Chief Cadet, and also a member of the police department and the fire department. So we're going to firm up dispatch procedures, training for our dispatchers, upgrading some of the things that we do, maybe making a call type for dam issues so that the dispatcher can just put that in and they'll get an automatic prompt them for certain notifications and things like that. So it's just kind of cleaning up our trade craft on that. So let's see, we also had a meeting with First Selectwoman, Police Department, Fairfield University on SantaCon. It was one of the initial things, because that's something that's coming down the pike again. And they have some there's a lot of good partnership going on with Fairfield University, and we think they've got a good plan. They're planning on hosting SantaCon officially. Now, that doesn't mean that other people, will come in and try to hold their own, but the police are going to, will have a plan for that. The Fairfield University SantaCon will take place far away from the traditional place, which will be at Jennings Beach. So we think that'll make it a little distal from, the traditional site. So, and that ends my report for tonight.
I have questions and I'll put it to the commissioners. One on SantaCon, are we actually working directly with the students at all?
Yes, the students, well. Fairfield
There's a
University-
Fairfield Beach Student Association.
Yeah, so Fairfield University has been working, they've got, they've had meetings with their student reps and things like that. So they're feeling that they've got a good hold on that and that this cooperation, so that's what they're reporting. So we're looking forward to that. We think it's a plan that, you know, could work. It's a difficult thing because, you know, it's, you know, not a very small percentage of the people that inundated that zone down there were Fairfield students.
Right.
We were talking to people and, you know, the Wesleyan football team.
Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey, you know, people.
Yeah,
from
there,
New
no,
York.
absolutely.
So
People
it-
don't
it-
recognize that.
Became a thing, so.
Even most of the people on regular weekends, it's not the kids that live there. It's Fairfield Heart, and it's also our high school kids.
Right, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Other question, Nor'easter.
yes. So, we've been monitoring, as we always do whenever we hear that there's a storm on, we get daily, reports from, contractors, from weather contractors. So, they flood our inbox. We always take a look. We know that this may be coming. We've spoken today, we spoke with, Conservation Department, so, their director, so what we normally do for that, one thing that we do is we close the tide gates. We have them close the tide gates. What happens, they wait a couple days before, they let the tide go out, they close the gates. And then what happens is then the marshes, you know, drain and are allowed to drain. And then when the tide comes in, hey, Senator, when the tides come back in, they don't fill the marshes right away like they normally would. So what happens is that just gives a little overflow for if there are storm, you know, floods that come in. So it's a method we use to help ameliorate, you know, a bad condition that could happen. So that's one of the things, but we also do things like we'll do messaging if we need people to move cars and things like that. So we're monitoring. So
One of the things is, having lived through them,
right.
it is to potentially indicate extended hours for the dump before the storm, so people can get stuff out. So that it, you know, we all accumulate stuff in our garages. And we don't have basements. And wet, it's a pain in the neck to get rid of cardboard boxes. That kind of stuff. And so you might consider that.
Speak to them.
Or the Saturday after the storm, so people can get rid of it.
But, we'll have a conversation with DPW tomorrow.
Anybody else have questions?
When is SantaCon? Chief?
I had it, forget, I could look that up for you. We might have.
It's usually like the first weekend in December.
I don't think it's been officially, you know, they do have a date that they're planning on doing, so, yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense because exams start not long after that.
I'll try to find that for sure. My phone.
Reading day is loaded in here, but I don't.
Yeah, I know we have it.
Any other questions? Okay. Deputy Chief, you are up.
So operationally, we had 3 building fires this month. Small one on Mill Plain Road. We had a garage fire on Berwick Avenue and a much larger fire on Hillside Road. The fire on Hillside Road, one of the comments that was made by the incoming lieutenant was how the 4-person staffing made a big difference for him. Being able to get that line in place quickly and quell the fire before it became too big. We've had several vehicle fires and multiple mulch fires at Denali, which we work with DPW and Denali to get a hold of, and we have a good handle on it now. But those tend to happen every once in a while. So they were very cooperative, and we thank the DPW for coming in off hours to help us take care of that. The Pine Creek Water Main project, it's progressing slowly. The fire marshal's office went down there, and one of the things that they're statutorily required to do is anytime a fire protection main is tapped back in, they have to visually watch that to make sure that there's no debris in there and that the line is flushed properly. So we have 2 sprinkler systems down there, one Scandinavian Club, one Kenzie Point Condominium. Such it that they were able to go down and witness for us. If you haven't been down there, some of us in this room live down there. It's a tough spot down there now, and the temporary hydrants are in use. And they don't look like a hydrant. They look like a piece of pipe just stuck out of the ground. Spoke with the police department to try to see if they can make sure people aren't parking in front because they don't recognize what they are, and the hydrants are covered with bags. So there's no real indicator as to what it is. So hopefully they'll be able to work to enforce that a little bit. Happy to tell you that the new engine 4 is in service. I believe that's the first new truck down there since the 60s. It was purpose built for that station because nothing else fits in that station. Special thanks to retired firefighter Noga. He has a very strong attention to detail, and that truck is laid out perfectly. Everything has a place, and it's got a compartment, and he measured everything 4 times before he made it and built it. So if you ever
Tell them what he built.
he built like a hutch where we keep our equipment, but like the gloves, boxes for the gloves, and it's notched out, so you don't have to take the box out. You can just pull the stuff out. The driver has a place to put their glasses, their radio, their cup and things like that. So it's worth going down to look at if you ever get the opportunity. Anything else?
No, I was just gonna say, he molds plastic or he cuts it, or how he
so he-
forms plastic things. So, so nozzles will fit, like, you'll just put it like this and it'll strap in. Everything has a place and you can see it, as opposed to, I remember when I was on an engine and everything was
Piled
thrown
it up.
in a milk crate, nozzles were thrown in a milk crate. Here it's laid out like this. You can say, oh, I
Using a
want this.
3D printer?
No,
No, he doesn't.
He buys EDP plastic.
And he
from-
welds it
and he
together.
welds it, the plastic together. It got to the point where he ordered stuff that we hold our adapters on. He didn't like the design of the company, so he bought a lathe and made his own. Like he's that guy. So that's gonna be a miss for us on the next trucks. We did, speaking of that, we had a truck meeting. We're in the process of designing the next engine that's coming. There's been some changes in engines that go into these things to keep up with emission standards, which is making them bigger and more expensive, if you could believe that. The tower ladder is pretty much complete, so we'll be working on that shortly. We had a regional meeting of the FCRD and NextGen, which is our dispatch software. Regional users group, and we're working to improve on call handling times. There's some stuff that they put in place now. It's called an immediate dispatch function, which while the call is coming in, they can hit that and get the units moving quicker. The idea being is trying to get into that NFPA number of being on scene quicker. There's no issue, but always looking to improve.
It's ultimate safety.
And then hose testing and ladder testing will be starting this month, which is, if you were not aware, NFPA requires us to test our equipment yearly and document it, and we're doing that. Hopefully there won't be too much failure as a hose, but it does happen. That's why we have our continuous hose replacement policy every year. We lose a certain percentages to either age or to failure of the hose. As far as facilities, Station 5, the septic system, we just received the bid back from the contractor today, so hopefully that will be progressing forward sooner than waiting. So we want to get that moving. As far as all the stations, we modified to have private areas for the lactation spaces for the returning firefighter who had just had a baby. Locks were installed in some areas. We visited the stations together, group of all the female firefighters, and agreed on spaces in each one of the stations. And we purchased mini refrigerators to help if she has to express milk when she's working. And other than that, we're working with the capital program, like the chief said, to improve stations and things like that. So some of that stuff was in the capital projects plan as well. So we're trying to make the places a little bit more livable than what they've been. Specifically, Station 4 is a high on our list of things that we need to work on. So That's it for facilities.
Okay, either one of you, you mentioned the recruits doing well in the academy. What about the laterals? Because they've been with us.
They're on the line. Yeah, they're doing well.
They're doing very well.
Other commissioners, questions for the deputy chief?
I just wanted to clarify, Chief Barry, that you now have 4 people on the truck for the Hillside Fire. Can you repeat what you were
So
saying?
Station 5 is the only company that we have 4 personnel assigned to that truck. And this is the officer that was typically works at Station 1 has 3. He said that 4th person made quite a difference in getting that line into place quicker. So it's manpower, personnel does matter on things like that. It was a bigger house. They had a pretty good second floor fire. And they were able to get that line in place and stop the further damage.
Yeah, distances are a bigger deal there.
You are, yeah.
Long driveway, long hose lay. It was, I think they dumped the entire hose bed getting to a hydrant because the driveway was probably 500 feet maybe.
Mm.
So engine 1 was the layout. That's a little bit smaller hose bed. So I think it was close to I think they had the split lay, I believe. Didn't they force have to split lay with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was over the 1,000 feet. So it was pretty far. But he said that definitely made the difference for him. So
Yeah, if you have to run that much hose, certainly. Okay, any other questions? Okay, CERT.
I don't see CERT here. The only thing I mentioned was that they have their trailer inventories, November 8th, so they're gonna have to get an activation.
I don't see Southport. Stratfield. Local 1426, please.
Sure. First, I'd like to thank the outgoing commissioners. You had worked together for a very long time, and Alex, in the short time we worked together, we've been a pleasure to work with. The union's got something to say about St. John. If I had a party at my house and all my people left my party and people came to my party who weren't supposed to be at my party, and then we peed all over your lawns. And then the next year I said, oh, I have a party again, but this time I'm gonna watch it out for it. And then I had another party, a whole bunch of people came that weren't supposed to be there, and they peed on all your lawns, and then they committed arson. And then in the third year, I said, hey, I'm gonna have a party. And I said, but this time I really got a plan. I wouldn't believe me. I would think that my neighbors would be very upset, and last year it caused a fire, so that's where it comes into our thing. It put my members in danger, put the town in danger, and we're less than happy that there isn't more of a crackdown on this. If it was any other group had this going on every year, you could bet there would be a stop to it. We had some kids do donuts in a parking lot, and it was we put up everything down into stopping that from happening again. Move on to 4 people on the truck, onto a good note. Turns out the science was correct. You could do better. It was safer, the faster that, how was the square footage on that house?
probably 3,000.
$3,000?
Guessing.
That's a medium hazard fire. It was, I was in the house later. It should have been mine, but I was in negotiations. So we did go there later that night. The house was very compartmentalized, tricky layout, stuff like that. So had that fire really gotten a hold in there and gotten really out of the room and contents that it was, it could have been a very dangerous fire. Get into grievances. I had to write it on the back of the box because I was really afraid I was gonna miss everything. We're on, don't quote me because it changes by the day, I think 24 grievances with regards to health insurance. And upcoming MPP, which is, for those who don't know, is a municipal prohibitive practice because they failed to negotiate the change in health insurance. It is obviously not equal to or better than, but that's become sort of the norm, as I'll get into a little bit more with the second MPP that's upcoming.
What does MPP stand for?
Municipal prohibitive practice. It
Okay.
means that you did what you weren't supposed to do. Beyond what's grievable, so it's a violation of the law. The other stuff. Oh, that brings me to the MPP, sorry. So we have two things going on with the same issue, which is change to maternity policy. As I told you in the last month's meeting, the administration of the town, human resources met without the union and came out with a policy. Although what is in the contract does not meet state or federal law, collective bargaining. Discussing that and coming out with a policy or position on it without including the union is, well, we grieved it because you're violating the contract by changing the policy. And it is a municipal prohibitive practice to unilaterally change something in the CBA without negotiating, which will lead up to including arbitration in front of the labor court. There's certain things that management can do, and we're within their rights. Things that are in the CBA are negotiable, and they are not allowed to, by dictum, tell people what they're gonna do. Brings us to negotiations. Negotiations have gone off the rails. We are now on our third negotiating team in 9 months. So we started off with the human resources director, the CFO, and the town. Then they left and they brought in Lee Palmer, who is a part-time seasonal employee. He was gonna lead negotiations. He came to one meeting and then he quit. So now the town has hired an outside attorney to negotiate with us 9 months into this without a lot of forward progress. We don't think that bodes well. We have declined to give an extension past 30 days for arbitration. So if this contract isn't settled or within the next now 28 days, we will be going back into arbitration. Those of you that have been here, arbitration is not pretty. But it's become like Groundhog Day. It starts good and it just goes off the rails. There has been,
So can I just ask, just because like I joined the board when it was the fun time of arbitration. I don't want to go back there if we can avoid that. Without us, we can't, there's like, but like when you sit there and say it was HR, the CFO and the town, like, how does that break down? I'm not asking you to point fingers. Is it like both sides just say no mas, or is like, did the town sit there and tell you all no mas? You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, so in this particular case, when we talk about in the last one, it was the town walked out of negotiations and said, we don't want to talk to you anymore. So they asked for mediation, we declined, we went to arbitration. In this case, it's just stalling, there hasn't been.
Well, and we've had turnover.
Yeah, but as I've pointed out on numerous occasions, and this isn't the first human resources people that I've dealt with in this, is that the town is the town. If you change the people that represent the town, that doesn't change the town, right? So it isn't, oh, we get a new start over because we're not the town anymore. So again, I can't tell you anything about negotiations. The only thing about the ground rules is to tell you about progress in negotiations and that we'll be filing for arbitration. My guess is in 30 days.
how does like I guess like my follow-up question is like, how does like Lee Palmer like actually go about saying like, I'm not doing this anymore?
He came to negotiations, we met, we had some discussions, and then I was informed when we had another meeting coming up that he was no longer involved and the town was hiring an outside attorney. So why or what, I don't know.
Okay, thanks for, I just want to kind of know, like, not being in the room, not being, thank you.
It's very difficult to move negotiations forward when it's new people in the room.
Yeah.
Starting off with, oh, so what have we done so far? It's particularly frustrating when myself, but even more so the 6 members of the executive board I bring in there are there on their own time, right? We never have negotiations on Saturday or Sunday. We don't have them at night because those people don't work during those times. They're gonna do it when they get paid to do it. My guys are coming in and spinning their wheels on their own time, and it's quite frankly, I'm at my wit's end.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
More issues, you mentioned that, Tom Murphy just passed, which is terrible, Joe Scuba's passed not too long ago as well. His widow reached out, said, hey, I'm supposed to have a $12,000 life insurance policy. How do I collect that? Seems like a simple thing. Said, oh, we'll go find out. And, Vice President Caliper said, hey, where's her money? Well, we don't have any record of that. Okay, which is not a good answer, but fine. He brought the contract. We went back, got the contract from when Joe retired. Said, it says right here, the town shall provide for the remaining life of the dependent of the firefighter a life insurance policy. Oh, we don't have her listed as a dependent. Okay, well, she's his wife.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a dependent, now I'm not a lawyer, but that would be the next of kin, right? If I die, even if I didn't say who it goes to, it goes to my wife. So we went down to try and find out, do you even have these life insurance policies? Right? You might have been promising something to someone for the past 30 years and have never even had it because no one seems to know where they are. So again, I'm new, we don't know, we weren't here, not my problem. You were responsible for it, you didn't do it. Give her money, this is ridiculous. $12,000 is a lot of money to someone with a fixed income who's been by herself now. I'm tired. It wasn't supposed to be this hard. It doesn't have to be this hard. We've come to the table repeatedly. When we weren't getting paid correctly, we fixed it. With the insurance, we've tried everything we can to fix it. We keep trying to help, and then every time it comes time for someone to step up and do the helping, then everyone's, well, there's nothing I can really do, I can't find it, flat out won't talk to you, can't get meetings. It's great to hear everyone else is meeting with the first select person. I haven't. I've asked 4 or 5 times. I don't get the courtesy of a response. And my members know it, and they're pissed because they're not being heard, and for no reason. It's pointless. We're not trying to be adversarial, but as the people who have been here for more than, if you want to be adversarial, it's actually, I'm way better at that than I am at this. Being nice is hard for me. Trying to compromise and all get together and sing Kumbaya, that's not my forte. I usually leave it to other people on the board. But if it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get. And again, I'm not saying that from people who haven't seen what we will do when you come after my members. So I don't know how much that has to do with you, but that's my report.
No, it's good. It's good to hear this and just like, I get upset when people say, well, COVID, it's like, all right, well, that was forever ago, right? It's like, we've been through a sorrowful time actually in this town, and that makes sense, but it's like, we gotta move forward and we gotta kind of grab the bull by the horns and fix stuff, and you, more than anybody, the last meeting to express that, like, it's the losing Bill for you guys was harsh and hard and a friend of yours, but now we gotta come together and I mean, just something like a $12,000 life law that you can't like opt out of, since the guy's wife, there's no other person that can be beneficiary of that policy.
Right, and I'm not positive there is a policy.
I'm
That's-
positive that though, like.
Well,
there-
they may just have done it under self-insurance, so it may not be a written policy, but they
Yes.
still have to pay.
I don't care if they come over with a bag of nickels.
Right.
Give me she needs $12,000 and I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, no, the town's obligated, it sounds like, from everything you're saying, and it doesn't matter that whether they
But
actually bought an
the hard
outside
part for
insurance.
us, Commissioner, is that you see, retirees are the easiest victims to the town. not just this administration, but every administration I've ever worked for. See, because when I go in and say, hey, you're not giving them what they're supposed to get, they tell me you don't represent retirees. So I gotta go tell poor Mrs. Scubis on a fixed income, hey, to get your $12,000, maybe you can find a lawyer who'll get it for you for 4 of the $12,000. That's not the point,
Of course.
right? So instead, I'm limited. I'm not allowed by fiduciary constraints to hire a lawyer themselves, or I would. Our union treasury is just pushed over, thanks, in all the credit goes to my treasurer, to over $900,000. I'd love to hire lawyers all day long. I'd go after every single thing I could. I can't use that money for private lawsuits. If I could, I wouldn't be at work ever, because I'd be at the courthouse every day, which would be awesome for me. But this isn't, you know, when I have a grievance about a firefighter who's done something wrong, who's made a mistake, I take no joy in there. I come in and try to, hey, what can we do to make this better? I make sure that the process is followed. But things like this, this is right and wrong. There's no middle ground. There's no well, but there isn't a well, but to paying a widow $12,000 that you owe her. He's dead. She wants her money. He did his time. But if it was just that, I wouldn't be this emotional about it. It's every single thing is, and it's been going on now for 6 years. We can't just do anything.
Is it possible to ask some other retirees' family who's collected on the money to find out what kind of check they got?
We're trying,
Yeah.
we actually went to HR
Right,
to try and resolve this
right,
and said, could we see? Could you
Right.
pull up the records so that I'll reach out to each one of them and say, hey, you gotta make sure you're signed up over here. Can we fix this?
right. But
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, did they get a town of Fairfield check or did they get a, like a?
Oh, we're trying to hunt it down because if I wanted, Mrs. Scubis knew what she had coming. Her husband said, here's the things they owe you,
Right.
right? She knows what her
Right.
pension's supposed to go to, what her insurance, but we have
Exactly.
bunch of widows.
Not everybody knows
don't-
everything, yeah.
If he, like, I don't know that do you mention it? I don't know, you forget about it, right? Like, hey, I retired, Joe lived a good retirement, right? He retirement all the way. But some people forget, or they die suddenly and don't have a chance to say, hey, don't forget, I don't even have a policy, so it's not sitting in a drawer because it's held by the town. And the answer I got when I asked even to, hey, can we check our guy, like the guys that are working right now to make sure they have it? No, tell them to go look in Paycom. Paycom that hasn't paid me right. Paycom that didn't have the right dependents on it when we went into insurance. Paycom that messed up our taxes that when it got in here. Paycom, I wouldn't trust Paycom. Every time I look at my check, I have to check because Paycom has been horrible. And that's who I'm relying on now to make sure that my benefits are there. Paycom is how I'm gonna know these guys are gonna get paid. The widow thing is that you can't get any lower.
I would just say this, if I can say this. Don't give up, like, you know what I'm saying, you like, don't keep the bill that we know, fighting for this, I know you get tired and exhausted and stuff, just we're saying to you. We're limited what we can do, but we have your back emotionally
No,
and psychologically, and you know what I'm saying, like.
I'll die before I'll quit.
I know, but just know that I wanna say that to you,
Yeah,
because you
no,
hear it,
thank you.
you know, no, really, cause like sometimes you get low and you just need to, hear it, so. Yeah, turn fine, but I just feel like, that need to be said.
Any questions for them?
Clear.
Okay. I didn't see any donations in the packet. I saw a thank you note. Old business. Public comment? No other business?
We have one other. We,
Ah.
we,
Thank you.
We're gonna send you a 6-pack.
Thank you. Make sure they're not alcoholic.
That's very sweet. I appreciate that. You weren't here, but I
Commissioner,
said.
I did have something that I did want to mention.
Pardon?
I did have something I wanted to,
Okay.
it's the chief's birthday.
Hey.
Can we give him one flower?
Birthday.
Yeah, I'll take one. I'll put it behind my ear.
Happy birthday.
I told everybody all day, he's not happy with
I
me.
know I'm not happy with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Then I need to go into motion to go into executive session to consider personnel policy.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
In that meeting will be the chief, the deputy chief, and the commissioners.
Take a 30-second bathroom break real quick.
Sure, go right ahead.
Me too.
Okay, go right ahead. It is 8:28 and we are back in session. No motions, votes. Anything else
No motions, no votes were taken.
taken during the executive session? And it is now over. Unless somebody has some business, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.